Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Thanks for coming by. Today we are going to be making this, which I've just put up on the screen for you to look at. It is a wreath made out of paper tubes, such as this one. It's a magazine page cut in half down the length of the page to give me 2 strips of paper, which I then fold around or roll around a skewer. And with the skewer, I roll it right the way round and just keep going and going and going, and then glue the end down at the top and push it down and seal it, and then we've got a paper tube. So we've got the paper tube made. We need a few of those made. I'll run through exactly how to make one of those for you in a second. So the things we need today are a skewer, some Pritt stick style glue, a pair of scissors. Oh, nearly sent me skewer flying. We also need some PVA glue. We need a magazine. As I said, we're going to cut the length of the magazine in the middle to give us 2 bits of paper. Here's a couple I've made earlier. So that's what we're going to need. We're going to need a magazine, 2 bits to get a page, to get 2 bits of paper, and we're also going to need a cylindrical object, which is quite sturdy. Here I've got a Pringles box. Yes, I like paprika. That's probably my favourite flavour of the Pringles. I'm sure many of you don't like them, but they're my favourite. Or if you've got a spare one laying around, you could use a cylindrical object such as the PVA glue bottle that I'm showing you here. Again, that's quite firm, but it's a bit heavy and cumbersome, whereas an empty Pringle box, because you're doing a lot of manipulating around with the wreath as you're making it, it's nice and light as the Pringles box and doesn't get in the way. So that's what I'm going to be using. So glue, Pritt stick, scissors and skewer and paper. So I'll quickly run through how to make a paper tube. So what we do is, with 1/2 of the paper tube, let's get these out of the way for a minute, let's clear the decks. What we do is 1/2 of the page from the magazine. We get a nice small angle between the skewer and the paper. As you can see, there's like about 1/2 inch to 1 inch gap there, which is good. Then we just roll it around the skewer until we can't no more, until we run out of paper. And we're going to find, when you look at the tubes, there's a thicker end and a thinner end on the tube. I'll zoom in on my camera in a second, and you'll be able to see that one's thicker and one's thinner. This is the thicker end, and down the opposite end is the thinner end. We want to tuck the thinner end into the thicker end of the other tube. So what we'll do, once we've worked out which is which, just glue them down and stick it inside, just twisting it as you go, just to get it in as far. Stick it in and get it in as far as you can go, twisting as you go, just to get it in as far as it can possibly go. And you want to make 6 of these double tubes, sorry, 3 of these double tubes, using a total of 6 of the smaller tubes. So what we want to do now is we want to make a star pattern out of those tubes that we've just made, those 6 tubes that we've now made into 3 longer tubes. So we'll find a tube and we'll flatten it in the middle-ish. Doesn't have to be exactly in the middle. And then at a slight offset angle, we'll bring in another elongated tube and flatten that one. We're not gluing at the moment, we're just trying to get our bearings as to making the right shape. And then again with this one, yeah, that needs to go there a little bit. It doesn't have to be exact anyway, so that's basically the shape that we're after. So it's got 6 points, 6-pointed star. So we'll squash that down as well. Make it all nice and flat and give it the most binding area as possible. Then what you want to do is with your PVA glue, where that middle is crushed down, you just want to put a little spot of glue there. And put the other one on top. And then again with the PVA glue, make another spot of glue on there. And just spin it around a little bit, make sure it's as equal as you can possibly get. Now you need to let that dry. That's important that you let that dry for an hour or so. If you don't let it dry, you'll be forever fiddling around with it. It'll all be coming apart while you're building your wreath. So I've got one made early, so I can get on with that. Here it is, the one I've made earlier. So as you can see, nicely laid out. And this is where I'll bring in my cylindrical paprika Pringles tub. And I'll put that dead centre, doesn't have to be exactly in the centre, and squash it down. Push down on it and hold it in place. Now you want to pick one of these legs of your star and glue with your PVA glue. Bear with me 1 second. I can't get the lid open to squirt it out. There we go. So with the feisty. You don't need that much. So what we're going to do is as close to the tube as possible. We're going to lift up one of the legs, and we're going to drop the leg back down on top of this one that we're putting here. So as you can see, I want to get it as close with a little bit sticking out of the one we're adding, so we can fold that over to secure it in place. We can move the tub out of the way now because we know where our marker is. So we just want to stick that there so we can start weaving. So we'll bring in the tube again. Yeah, that's fine. So starting from here, we want to go over 2 of the other tubes. So using this one here, we're going to go over this one, and don't worry about trying to get it too tight on the tube, and this one here. So we want to get it over 1, 2. Then we go back to the tube behind, and we want to take that over 1, 2. I know you can't see it at the moment through the camera, but I'm working my way around. So once, here we go. So once we've gone over that one, we want to come, this is the one I've just brought round, go back 1 and go over 2. Go back 1 and go over 2. Go back 1, go over 2. Go back 1, go over 2. 1, 2. Go back 1, go over 2. So as long as you remember, go back 1, go over 2, go back 1, go over 2, go back 1, go over 2, what you'll end up doing is building up on your tubes. You'll be going around and interlocking them all together, which is kind of weaving it together into a nice sturdy shape. So go over 2, back 1, go over 2, 1, 2. From this one we've just brought over, go back 1. Oh, it's sprung up, doesn't matter, I'll push it back down, go over 2, go back 1, go over 2, 1, 2. It's not that fiddly, to be honest, it's just that I'm trying to keep my hands out of the way of the camera for you to see exactly what I'm doing. So we go back 1. You're not going to see anything at the moment because I'm around this side of the tub at the moment, the Pringles tube. So back 1, go over 2, back 1, go over 1, 2, back 1, go over 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 2. Now we're getting a bit sparse on tube length here, so what we need to do is we need to add tubes onto each of these legs. So what we'll do is, as we're going around, we'll just add a single tube to each leg. Using the PVA glue, find the... so it's this one here. Good. And that one. So what have we got on that one? We have quite a wide hole on that one, so I want a thin hole, one end to go into the thicker hole. So there, there. So what we're doing is we're just extending every single one of these legs. There's 7 legs now. And we just thread it in, and as we're moving round, we need to put one on here, on this one. So we want a bit of glue on this one. Each tube is going to be completely different as you go round, because some are going to be thicker hold on here and thinner hold on here, and then you just need to find the relevant size. So it can be a little bit time consuming. So there we go. So there we go. There's the one we brought forward. So we need to go back 1, over 2. So we'll make this one here longer now. So put a bit of glue and attach that. And we'll do this one here as well, because we're going over that. It doesn't leave us a lot to play with. So put a bit of glue on there. Not too much glue, just a little bit on there, just to make it bind with the one that we're fitting over the top. Right, so we're sticking that in there. It's all glued on. So we can see now what I'm doing now is, as you're looking here, it's coming up the tube. Each time you go and do a complete revolution with the tubes, going over 2, back 1, over 2, back 1, over 2, back 1, you're raising up the outside of this tube. So what I'll do is I'll stop the video now, and I will get relatively near to the top of the tube by keep adding tubes on as I'm going, as I get a bit short, adding another tube on, and keep going over 2 tubes, back 1, over 2 tubes, back 1. So over 1, 2 tubes, back 1, over the 2 tubes, back 1, over the 2 tubes, keeping it nice and tight to the Pringles tube. Over 2, back 1. So as long as you remember it's over 2, back 1. And I'll meet up with you again in a couple of minutes once I've got to the top of this tube. Okay guys, you'll see now that I've got to the top of the Pringles tube. It's taking me about 15 minutes to get that far. Obviously now I've run out of my guide, the Pringles tube. So what we've got to do is we've got to pull the Pringles tube up out of the weaved paper that we've got below. So it can be a little bit difficult, but if you just spin and twist and slightly pull at the same time, it will come. If it's tight, you've done a good job. Bear with me a second, I'm just going to go off camera. Get a better angle. That's it, it's coming now. Don't pull it out though, because you'll never get it back in. So there we go. So that's basically what we do, is weave it around, pull the tube up, weave up to the top again, pull it up, and you want to get approximately about a metre and a half in length thereabouts, until it looks roughly about the same size as a wreath when you put the 2 ends together. So it's a bit of imagination, using your imagination to roughly work out how long it's going to be. But yeah, just keep going over. So over 2, back 1, then over 2. I will come back to you when I've got the completed article. When I've got the completed metre and a half long weaved wreath. Right guys, I've got to the end of the wreath. It's approximately a metre, just over a metre in length. It is quite stretchy, so you can pull it about a bit to get the exact shape and size that you want. But yeah, so what you do is you butt these 2 together and glue gun them in the middle. And so I shall get my glue gun ready and then glue the two ends together. Right, so I think my glue gun's ready now. Let's just test it. Yeah, it's fine. Right. So as you can see, we've got one end here. I'm going to join it onto this end. So we'll go all the way around the outside. To make a nice joint. Doesn't matter if you go a little bit over, because you're going to be covering up the wreath with your own decorations and so forth. So it doesn't matter if there's a little bit of glue showing. But obviously if you can get away without having any on display, that would be fantastic. Right, so we've got the glue hot. And we just butt the 2 ends together. I'm going to turn my glue gun off. It's a gas one. What with the rising cost of fuel these days. So you need to hold it for a few seconds and it'll join, and just rest it down. Give it a few minutes just to secure itself. And And there we have it, one wreath, and it's really sturdy. I don't suppose that glue's dried properly yet. Yeah, it feels pretty firm and sturdy to me. So yeah, now you can decorate it however you want. Put tinsel on it, pine cones, the lights, anything you want. It's yours now, and I'll put a picture up of mine again so you can see how I've decorated mine. I've put pine cones on there, which I got from Hobbycraft. I got them already made with a dusting of white over them. I got some silver coiled bits of wood, which I thought looks nice as well, so I bought those from also Hobbycraft. And the lights I got, I think they were £3.50 for about 30 or 40 lights, string LEDs, bright white, which I also wrapped round, but you'll see that in the picture I'll put up now. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed my video, please hit the like button, and I hope you subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you very much.
It's me.